Otterpool Park is a response to the government's call for new settlements, predominantly their programme of garden villages and garden towns. Now, because we're more than 5,000 homes, we qualify as a garden town. So the government invited applications for garden towns, and then there was a rather complicated set of purchases, but Otterpool Park is centred around the old Folkestone racecourse. So it's since Victorian times. It was for horse racing, and a company called Astana owned it. Then it was bought by a company called Cllr. The council, this was long before my time, you'll realise, got a close relationship with Cllr, and they made a joint bid to the government for garden town status. That bid was successful, and then the council, Folkestone Hythe District Council, bought out Cllr. So Cllr have no further role. They're gone. When you're building a town of 8,500 homes, a really good place to build it is on top of a railway station that's already there and next to a motorway junction, because it will save you literally hundreds of millions of pounds in terms of infrastructure. So that's why Otterpool is where it is. It is on top of Western Hangar Station. And it is next to Junction 11 on the M20. The whole point of the Garden Towns programme is that it's not a suburb. Not a suburb. It is a self-sustaining community, and that's the idea. So live, work, play is certainly central to it. But good connectivity to Folkestone, to Ashford, the town of Hythe, which is just down the hill, Lymm and the surrounding villages. There are 5 principal villages that surround it, and the Otterpool will make it a very different place for them, but it will. The whole idea is that we integrate, we supplement, and we add to enhance their village lives. The management at Otterpool Park have always had a kind of outreach and open door type policy. So the managing director meets with all of the parishes on a regular basis, and in fact I meet on a separate meeting. I meet with all of the chairs of the parishes. We do have open consultations when the planning process dictates. We did a consultation back in, I think, last July on phase 1A. There hasn't been any consultation since, because we've been busy doing other things. We've been busy getting the money together. So I think that once we get a firm position, then we will start to re-engage. The biggest waste of anybody's time is engaging with them, getting people excited about stuff that's not going to happen until somebody gives us X millions of pounds, or somebody does this, or we celebrate. So we need to be fairly, fair. We need to be, firm in our own minds of what we are going to do, what we're going to consult on, because otherwise it's unfair on people to raise their expectations that this is going to happen and then it doesn't. One of the principal partners thus far has been Places for People, who are the largest housing association in the country, and the joint venture that we've been discussing with them doesn't only include affordable housing; it also includes other tenures. But we're very, very, very keen to see a diverse range of tenures, obviously including affordable, including under that heading shared ownership, but also we're very keen on build to rent investor coming in, particularly flats around the station. And I would say this, wouldn't I? But we're also very keen on doing some old school traditional council houses. So our what we call our housing revenue account will be involved in Otterpool through its 30-year life. I can pretty confidently say to you here now that Otterpool Park will be net zero from the outset, which is going to be a major achievement for us. To my mind, there was no point in the 21st century building a 20th century development. This has got to look forward. We've got to future-proof. We've got to. So there are two key strategies: net zero and smart community. We can't avoid it. It would be cheaper. I give you that. But we can't do it. It's got to be net zero from the outset, and we've been really busy looking at how we would do that. And I'm pretty confident that we will. Nothing signed yet, but I'm pretty confident. We're talking about doing a solar farm ahead of the. We've got a lot of land, you'll understand, with this, and some of the land won't be developed for 20 years. So there's plenty of space to put a solar array on there. The impact of that is that if we effectively are providing our own energy into the construction process, we are then impacting on, the holy grail of net zero construction, which is embodied energy. We will reduce the embodied energy. So when people talk about net zero, they talk about net zero carbon in use. But we're not only talking about that, we're talking about impacting on the embodied energy of the construction process. Not in a huge way, in all honesty, but nevertheless, the number of developments that will be able to claim that, you can probably count on the fingers of one hand. So it's a major thing. But a big emphasis on active travel, cycling, walking, public transport. I won't bore you with all of that. But the really big deal at Otterpool is our biodiversity net gain. Now, I'd love to claim all the credit for this, but I can't, unfortunately. But the biodiversity net gain is going to be incredible because we have to build a wastewater treatment plant first. And this wastewater treatment plant is to combat the nutrient neutrality, combat the phosphates, and this will have a large reed bed attached to it. We have to comply with a 20% net biodiversity gain. We'll do that standing on our head. Well, I'm looking at probably 80% net. So that is going to be the major. If you say to me, what does Otterpool Park do for Kent in environmental terms? That's what it does. A monster amount of biodiversity net gain. You can't do this on your own. You've got to have like-minded partners. Now, those partners might change along the way, but you've got to have like-minded partners. There's you can't dream this up in your bedroom and go out and do it the next day. So in order to do that, you've got to be talking to people. You've got to be communicating. You've got to be out there. You've got to be, you've got to find those networks and get into them and be a willing partner. But this is huge. This is enormous. We've had plenty of partners so far, and we'll have plenty more. The key thing is, that you get people to buy into the aspiration, that that people join that partnership, if not necessarily join it in terms of signing a piece of paper, as it were, but people share your aspiration. And then you can set out what I rather presumptuously call our converging objectives. Where do Otterpool Park's objectives converge with the parishes that surround them? So new schools, health centres, improvements to the railway station, better bus services, that sort of thing. Getting the money together is the challenge in terms of, but that's my job. There's no one else needs to worry themselves about that. But believe me, it's a challenge. The thing that determines the rate at which Otterpool Park will be built is what the developers call the absorption rate. So how many homes can you sell into a market and don't ask me why, but all developers work on this figure of 6 homes a month is the maximum. So 72 a year. Well, we would be here till the 22nd century if we would. So it will be a matter of opening different parts of the site at different times. So the phases are not going to run consecutively, they'll run concurrently. So phase 1 will start undoubtedly. Once that gets away, I will be pushing very, very hard for phase 2 to overlap, phase 3, etc. Now, the necessity will be to split these phases in different parts of the site, so that purchasers will look at these sites as independent standalone places, not necessarily. They'll get the idea of a kind of new settlement, village town, a garden town, but the people that will come in from Sellindge will consider that it's Sellindge. People that come in from Lymm will feel that it's Lymm. People that come in from Stamford on the north will feel that it's Stamford. And there are kind of branding opportunities around that we've got closer to the station, more rural, closer to the village. Do you know what I mean? Well, the marketing people will have a field day. What that will do ultimately, in terms of the environment, in terms of the built environment, it will create diversity. There will be change. You will know when you're in such and such, and then you walk into another. Do you know what I mean? So there may be predominantly flats around the station, but as you walk further south, the houses are likely to get larger. There'll be family homes, etc. So they'll change in their sort of character zones as you wander around. We have people that work from home. We have people that work in Folkestone. We have people that work in Ashford. We have families. We have retirees. We have a mixed community. I'm a chartered surveyor by background, so I've done quite a lot of development, and one thing I know is that mono developments or mono tenure in particular doesn't work. Mixed tenure works, mixed communities work. They're the communities that thrive. So that's very much what we want to create at Otterpool Park.